Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 20. Today we're going to go over when to use a or an before words. Okay, and there's my title, Easy, Think Again. Most people would automatically assume that this is simple. And I think the problem comes in that we've all been taught, we always hear the rule, use a before a consonant and use an before a vowel. It seems so simple. All my life we always thought this is actually the rule. Until one day I realized, you look it up, that's actually not the rule. And one of the reasons I did is because even as a teacher there would be many examples where you would have a before a consonant word and somebody said, well, why are we using a before this word? Like, for example, like a university. Well, why don't we say an university? University begins with a U, we should be using an. And at first, of course, I just thought it was an exception, because, English has a lot of rules, and English has a lot of exceptions to a lot of rules. So it's not actually surprising to think that. Until I actually did look up the rule, and the rule is not a before a consonant and an before a vowel. The rule is use a before a consonant sound, right? That's a big difference. And use an before words that have a vowel sound. So it's not just whether it's a consonant or whether it's a vowel, it's whether it's a consonant sound or a vowel sound. Because sometimes these words, even though it may look like a vowel, it has a consonant sound and vice versa. Alright, so let's look at, let's review first, of course, very simply. Let's just review vowels. Everybody knows whatever is written here that's not a vowel is a consonant. So, A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. And that's another thing. Every time you always hear that rule, you always say, sometimes Y, what's that about sometimes? Alright, so let me just kind of get that out of the way before we move on. Y as a vowel is most noticeable in words that don't have an A, E, I, O, U. Some examples include Y, W-H-Y. So obviously Y is the vowel in this word. Y, fly. Obviously there are no other vowels, so it has to be a vowel in those words. Him, Jim. Those are, again, good examples. Alright, and let's note this other part. Most of the time when Y begins a word, it has a consonant sound. Yeah, it has like a y sort of a sound. That's a consonant sound. That's not a vowel sound. And more often has a vowel sound in the middle or the end of the word. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's take a look at some of the examples. Alright, so examples of a before a consonant sound. Alright, the first row is the normal ones, the ones that we don't even have to question, like a bar, a coward, a hero. Okay, all of those begin with consonants and they do have consonant sounds, so no problem. Alright, here's where we do come in with a problem. Just like I said, the example before, like a university. Here you have a union, same thing. See the and it begins with U. But really, the union doesn't really have a vowel sound. It has more like it has like a Y consonant sound. Union, a united front, a universal healthcare plan. So it has more of a Y sound than a consonant. So that's why we're using a and not an an. Like I said, when students ask me, why don't we say an university? I try to think the an university. That's definitely wrong. It's a university. So, all right, let's look at some of the words that begin with Y too, just in case somebody was still confused about Y. We say a yoga mat, a yogurt, a YMCA. Well, obviously here it begins with a Y, and it does have the Y sound, so it's yoga, yogurt, so definitely we use a YMCA. Actually here Y as a letter actually has more like a W sound, but that's also a consonant, so we say a YMCA. One-man operation. Alright, well, one actually has more of a W sound. W is a consonant, so we use a. We don't say an one man. or and $100 bill. We don't say that. We say a $100 bill. A one of a kind, same thing. So the one, beginning with one, actually has more of a W sound. A W, so therefore it's a consonant. So therefore it just takes a. All right, examples of and before a vowel sound. Okay, the first row is again your typical ones, and before a vowel, and it's a vowel sound. So an ant, an Indian, an easy one. All right, those are the normal ones we wouldn't even question. All right, but here's where it does come in, and especially watch abbreviations. Abbreviations where the letter ends up having a vowel sound. So we say an MA, like she earned an MA. M as a letter really has a vowel sound. It has more of an EM sound, which is M. That's actually a vowel sound. So we say an MA, an NBA player. Okay. So also N, it has like an EN sound. N. So we use an. And H also having an A sort of a sound, and HMO. So again, so pay attention to abbreviations. Now, some abbreviations do, of course, have the normal consonant sound. You get like we might say a WHO or something like that. Obviously, that has a consonant sound. All right, words that begin with a silent H. This is another one to pay careful attention to. An hour or an hourglass. So the H is silent. So the first vowel sound is actually an O. So even though we often think of H is a consonant, so why don't we say a hourglass? We actually say an hourglass because again the H is silent here. An honor. Yeah, we don't say a honor. We say an honor because the H is silent. An honest mistake. Again, H is silent. So be very careful. So be careful of silent H's. Most of the time, the next letter will be like a vowel sound. Therefore, you use an and. Be careful of abbreviations with letters that end up having a vowel sound to it, the first letter. If the first letter of the abbreviation has a vowel sound, then you have to use an N. Okay, and getting back to the consonant sounds, be careful of words that begin with a U and I, like a union or a university actually has more of a Y sound, so that's why we say with that. Or one, again, has a W sound. So again, those are the ones to really watch out for. Okay, well I hope that clarifies it. If you ever came across these issues, if you ever came across these problems, this is the answer to them. Thank you very much.